Hello, this is Linda from England here, and this is going to be the literature session number 1. I hope you're all well. I hope you can all hear. And now I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Can you see that first screen? I'm going to give you an introduction to poetry, and I want you to pause the screen several times during the lesson to give you time to talk about or to do the tasks. Okay, please don't play the video straight through, but pause, do the tasks, and then continue. Okay? Okay, so this is the first one, and it's an introduction. So, the first question, what is literature? So, can you pause the video now? Pause my video, and in pairs, for 5 minutes, talk about what is literature. Pause now. Okay. Okay. Right, let's continue. Here are some definitions of literature. Are they what you thought? Is that what you were talking about? Or which of these 5 definitions do you like best? Now pause this video again to read them and discuss. Which one do you like best? Pause. Okay. They are all true. All these definitions are true, but of course they are different definitions. My favorite is D, because it's everything. Everything can be literature. Writings in prose, like a story, or verse, like poetry. Of course, there are 5 main forms. Of course, in ancient Greece, it was tragedy or comedy. Often in C, its literature is especially the works of art, written works considered of superior or lasting artistic merit, which means good stuff, good writing. And the last one, expressions and form, permanent, universal, all of these things that people like to discuss. Let's move on. This is what we're going to study. So in the literature course, Alaba is going to go through the set texts with you in one session, and one session a week is going to be this Linda's video session. Now, you can watch the video many times afterwards. You can have the link and repeat the lesson later or at home. And during the session in class, you're going to pause it and do the tasks, okay? So, what are we going to study? What do you suggest we read or work on in these sessions? Tell your partner now, just for 2 minutes. Pause. Okay, let's see if they're the same as my ideas. Okay, so this is my plan. And I'd like you to look through this list and decide which of these you think you need most. Okay, so pause now and read this and decide which ones you need most. Okay, pause for 3 or 4 minutes. Okay. My favorite, maybe you can guess, my favorite one is number 13, because I would like everyone to learn to read more quickly and to love reading. The more quickly you can read, the more you can read. And the more you love reading, the more you will read as well. If the teacher loves reading, they will pass on that passion to the students, and you will get your students reading really well as well. Okay, so we'll have a look at most of these things, or all of these things, at some point at different times in the sessions. It's not going to be a lecture. We're going to be discussing and doing tasks and having interactive sessions. Okay? Okay, move on. We're going to start today with some short texts, poetry. So here are 4 questions. What do you know about poetry? 4 questions. Turn to a different partner this time. And can you discuss these 4 questions, A, B, C, D, for 5 minutes? Pause the video now. Okay. Okay. I wonder if you do know any poetry in English. Probably. Maybe some children's poems. What is a poem or poetry? It's very difficult to explain because it can be anything, especially modern poetry. There are rules in C. There are rules for certain types of poetry, but you don't have to create those certain types. And yes, poems can be long or short, rhyming or non-rhyming, funny or serious, modern or old-fashioned, or literary, emotional or factual. Poetry can be anything. This is why it's difficult to define. It's usually more emotional. It's usually maybe a little bit more beautiful, and it's often shorter than books, stories. We're going to have a look at some today, okay? Okay, so here is your first poem, but I've mixed up all the words, so you have to create the poem, okay? There are 2 sentences in the poem, the red sentence and the purple sentence. You have to put these words in the correct order to create the poem, okay? 5 minutes, you need to pause the video now. 5 minutes to see if you can create it. Put the words in order. Look to find the capital letters and the punctuation. That might help you. Okay, 5 minutes, pause. Okay, did you manage to create the poem? Did you make any sense of it at all? So the first half starts can, and it must be can, okay, the second half starts with if what? Okay, so let's have a look and see if you were correct. Here's the poem. It's actually a nonsense poem. It doesn't make any sense. And the author is Spike Milligan. I'm going to read it to you. Can a parrot eat a carrot standing on its head? If I did that, my mum would send me straight upstairs to bed. Isn't it lovely? Lovely poem. It's a children's poem. Does it mean anything at all? Let's analyze it briefly. And here are 3 questions. 1, 2, 3. 5 minutes to answer the questions with your partner. Pause the video now. Okay, so what are the answers? The rhymes are, yeah, parrot and carrot, and then head and bed. So that's the structure of the poem. Parrot, carrot, head, bed. And the rhythm, let's listen again. There's 2 stresses in each line. Can a parrot eat a carrot stand? I'm going to clap actually as we do this. Can a parrot eat a carrot standing on its head? If I did that, my mum would send me straight upstairs to bed. Okay, so that's the rhythm. The rhythm is the beat. The rhymes are the same sounds. And what does it mean? Nothing. It's a nonsense poem. Very good for children. Very good for language learners. Let's look at another one. And good for learning off by heart. These poems are. Ready for another poem? Okay. Here is another poem. This time I've given you most of the words, but you have to fill the gaps. Okay, so with your partner, can you put the words, the red words at the top, inside the poem? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Okay. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. Pause the video now. Okay. Have you got the answers? Was it easy or difficult? Let's have a look. So A is sit, where I sit. B is top. C is down. D is nursery. E is town. F is thoughts. And G is anywhere. Oh, and H is instead. Do you like that poem? I love this poem. Let's have a look. Here it is. It's a children's poem by A.A. Milne, and it's called Halfway Down the Stairs. And I think it's about a place where you can think. We all have a place where we think best. And if you have stairs in your house, upstairs to downstairs, it's a really good place because you're in the middle of anything. You're not really anywhere. It's a really good place for thinking. Okay, can you now find the rhymes and say it to yourself? Try and find the rhythm, then I'll read it to you. Okay, so pause the video now, find the rhymes and the rhythm. Okay, so the rhymes, let's go through. The rhymes are the same sounds. So the rhymes are sit and it, and then top and stop, then down and town, and head and instead. Did you get them? Okay, and the rhythm, I'll clap the rhythm again, is 2 beats to a line. Okay, I'll beat the rhythm. Halfway down the stairs is a stair where I sit. There isn't any other stair quite like it. I'm not at the bottom, I'm not at the top. So this is the stair where I always stop. Halfway up the stairs isn't up and isn't down. It isn't in the nursery, it isn't in the town. And all sorts of funny thoughts run around my head. It isn't really anywhere, it's somewhere else instead. Okay, this rhythm really helps people get the rhythm of the English language because it's very natural rhythm. And the rhymes are really good to help you remember the poem. It's really good to learn some poems for adults and for children. And it's also very good to look at them in terms of language. Okay? Okay, let's move on. We're going to look at some adult poems now. And I want you to look at them and think, which one do you like best and why? And what do they both mean? This first one, We Real Cool. And the second one, This Is Just to Say. I'll give you a few minutes each to read them, then you can discuss. Okay, so pause the video now for 2 minutes to read this one. And now the next one. Okay. Poetry is quite good if you read it aloud. Often it was written to read. So I'm going to read them both to you now and think you're going to tell your partner which one do you like best and why, and what do they both mean. Okay, the first one. We real cool. We left school. We lurk late. We strike straight. We sing sin. We thin gin. We jazz June. We die soon. And the next one. I have eaten the plums that were in the icebox and which you were probably saving for breakfast. Forgive me, they were delicious, so sweet and so cold. Okay. Can you tell your partner now which one you like best and why, and what do they both mean? Pause the video for 5 minutes now, okay? Okay. Which one do you like best? What do they mean? Maybe you needed to understand some vocabulary for this first one. Lurk means to hang around, often threateningly. I think this one is maybe a warning to teenagers. Maybe they should stay in school longer. They think they're cool when they leave school and hang around and drink and music and singing. They think they're cool, but then they realize there's more to life than that because you just die soon anyway. Maybe it's a warning. And the next one, I think this is an apology, a very nice, very polite, very sweet apology. And I think it's a very nice way of saying sorry that you ate the plums that somebody else, maybe your partner, was saving. I wonder which one you like best. Very, very simple poems, aren't they? No rhymes, just words expressing emotions. They're beautiful pieces of writing, I think. Let's look at some more. But before that, let's have a little discussion. What can we learn from reading poetry? What do you think? Is there any point to it? 5 minutes, talk to your partner and pause the video. Make a list of how many things we can learn from reading poetry. Okay. Okay. Have you got a list? Let's have a look at my list. This is what I think some of the things we can learn. We learn about new vocabulary, very nice way of learning new vocabulary. If you have a dictionary or your phone, you can look up the meanings. We learn about rhyme, the words that sound the same, the pronunciation. The rhythm is really important for English. We can think about the function or the purpose of the text. Why did they write the poems? Maybe we don't know because some poems are very difficult to understand. And we can see different ways of expressing emotions in poetry. Did you get all those reasons? Did you get any different reasons? I'm sure you did. Okay, we're going to look at a few more poems now. 4 more. I want you to think about each poem as we look. Think about the meaning of each poem, the new vocabulary, and to summarize the poem. Can you summarize it in 1 sentence? Okay. Now, the first one is a poem by William Shakespeare. I'm sure you've heard of him, very famous English author who lived a long time ago, 16th to 17th centuries. And of course, his English is very old-fashioned. So maybe you won't understand all of this because there is some old-fashioned English. I'm going to read it to you, okay? And think about the 3 questions. What's the meaning? What new vocabulary? And can you summarize it in a sentence? Sonnet 16. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love, which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. If this be error, and upon me proved, I never writ, not no man ever loved. Okay, 5 minutes, pause the video to discuss with your partner, what does this mean? Okay, pause. Okay, what does it mean? There's lots of new vocabulary here, but I think it means love is wonderful. Love lasts forever. Love is perfect. Yeah, do you agree? Okay, next one. This is another sonnet by Shakespeare. And I'll read it to you first. And think about the meaning, the vocabulary. This one was written in 1609. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, why then her breasts are dun. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. I have seen roses damasked red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. And in some perfumes is there more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. And yet, by heaven, I think my love as rare as any she belied with false compare. What does that mean? Okay, 5 minutes, pause the video and discuss with your partner. Okay, what do you think? What does it mean? I think this is meant to be quite funny. It's very old-fashioned, and it's saying that his girlfriend, his woman, his wife, is not perfect, but he loves her so much anyway. So all of these criticisms, it's not like the typical romantic poems where her eyes are like the sun, her lips are like coral. That's typical romantic poetry, but this is real. She is not perfect, but he loves her. Quite a nice poem. Okay, ready for another one? This is a short poem, and it's by Tennyson, another very, very famous an English poet. He wrote this one in 1851, so it's more modern. I'm going to read it to you first, and then you can discuss what it means. Okay? The eagle. He clasps the crag with crooked hands, close to the sun in lonely lands, ringed with the azure world he stands. The wrinkled sea beneath him crawls, he watches from his mountain walls, and like a thunderbolt, he falls. Okay, now in pairs, pause the video and discuss this poem. Okay, did you like it? This one I think is easier to understand. It's just about the beautiful eagle, describing the eagle and the way it swoops down from the mountain. Very descriptive. Okay, ready for the last one? This one is a modern poem. It was written maybe 10 years ago. I'm not sure when, but it's modern. It's called The Right Word. And again, I will read it to you and then you can discuss what it means. Ready? Outside the door, lurking in the shadows, is a terrorist. Is that the wrong description? Outside that door, taking shelter in the shadows, is a freedom fighter. I haven't got this right. Outside, waiting in the shadows, is a hostile militant. Are words no more than wavering flags? Outside your door, watchful in the shadows, is a guerrilla warrior. God help me. Outside, defying every shadow, stands a martyr. I saw his face. No words can help me now. Just outside the door, lost in shadows, is a child who looks like mine. One word for you. Outside my door, his hand too steady, his eyes too hard, is a boy who looks like your son too. I open the door. Come in, I say, come in and eat with us. The child steps in and carefully, at my door, takes off his shoes. Okay, 5 minutes with your partner, pause the video and discuss. What does this poem mean? Okay, did you like this one? I think this is a beautiful poem because it's about different words for the same thing. Is the boy a terrorist, a freedom fighter, a hostile militant, a guerrilla warrior? Or is he just a boy, just somebody's son? It's about personalizing and humanizing these words we use to describe people. At the end, I love that, he comes in and takes off his shoes, which shows he's polite, he's a very nice boy. And the original label, a terrorist, can't be true, can it? And we need to find the right words to talk about things. Okay? Okay. The final thing, this is going to be your homework, is a very simple type of poem. You need to write one of these for homework. Can you write a poem? Of course you can. This simple type of poem is called an acrostic. Now, if you look at these examples, you have one word going down and then words beginning with those letters going across. So the first one, the word is rose, and the words going across are describing a rose Roses are red, oranges yummy, sugars are sweet, elixir in my tummy. And it rhymes as well. Nice acrostic. The children's one at the bottom. This is very good for children in class of any ages. This one, the word going down is spring. And then across, spring flowers, play outside, ride your bike or scooter, Italian ices, nice weather, get a tan. That's a nice, simple poem. No rhymes, doesn't matter. It can be one word, more than one word. The one with the pictures, this is going down. It says, our earth, and it's one word each. Oceans, uncool, reuse, energy, air quality, recycle, trees, healthy. So it's about our earth. And the one at the bottom, the word going down, is the type of poem, acrostic. Let me read it. An acrostic poem can be about anything, really. Of course, some people like to start each line as a sentence, though I prefer words into a creation that is more free-form. Okay, these are really simple poems, and this is a really good way of starting to write poetry. You can use these in class with students, and your homework this week is to write an acrostic poem. You have a choice. You can start each line with the letters poetry, or you can do it for your name. I've put my name, Linda. Let's do an example for my name. So Linda, it could be learning every day, in the UK, nothing better to do, dangerous living, and she loves teaching too. Okay, something like that, very simple. Can you post your poems in the WhatsApp group so we can all see everyone's poems? Okay. And that is the end of the lesson for today.